Wow, wow. Yes, so Hairless here. Forestella. This is a group that has been consistently recommended to me, especially on my pentatonics reactions and my dimash reactions. It seems that they're a South Korean male vocal quartet. I initially thought they might be a cappella, but a lot of the comments have said that they're a classical crossover quartet. This is them performing Scarborough Fair, and this is the performance of Forestella's that's been recommended to me the most. It's a very traditional song. I actually first heard it through Simon and Garfunkel. I really love their version of it. It's so calming and gentle. Forestella's performance, this is from a show called Immortal Songs. So I'm keen to see what they're about. The comments that I receive about Forestella speak very highly of them. So I'm excited to see for myself. And just before we start, I apologise in advance. I don't know the members' names yet. I didn't want to Google them because part of the fun of hearing a new group for the first time is trying to figure out who's singing which part. And I thought if I Googled them, it might give it away. So I'll probably be referring to them either by position on the stage or by their voice type or by my mouse. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so not a cappella.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine.
Okay, quick pause there. So we've only heard one member sing so far. He has a very nice voice, a very lovely tone. He's a natural tenor, it sounds like, which just means that he's able to go higher than other people who aren't natural tenors in his chest voice, in his full voice. And he's probably able to create a blended voice as well, higher up. A blended voice being a mix of his chest voice or his full voice and his head voice, his falsetto. We've not seen too much of his range yet. He's sung in just over one octave so far, from here to here. That's been the lowest and highest notes we've heard. But the lower notes, when he's singing lower down, that's what really makes me think he is a natural tenor because of how his voice sounds when he's singing lower. Overall, it's a very Christmassy or wintry kind of scene feel to it. We've got snowflakes on the back in the screen. They're all dressed in white, quite angelic. And it's also because of the backing track, the instrumentation that we hear in the background. We had what sounded like a harp, a piano playing in the upper register, and there were some backing vocals, R's as well, which sounded quite synthetic. And then when the singing started, a woodwind instrument came in that sounds something like a flute. Yeah, nice performance so far. I love this song, so I'm very curious to see how this performance will pan out. I want to hear the other guys come in. All right, let's carry on.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine.
It's very nice. Now I've heard them all sing, their voices blend so nicely together. Also, they're singing quite hushed. You know, they're not really belting out there. They're just working nicely together to create this overall calming, soothing sound. I just want to go over that verse because, not going to lie, I'm a little bit confused. It's been a bit tougher than expected working out who's singing which part. So far, my only explanation based on what I've seen and heard is that at least one of them can sing multiple voice types and is covering a massive range. Let me point out what I mean. So we get this entry. two new voices, him and him, the lower of which is probably a more natural baritone or even a bass, and the other, by the sound of his voice, is a natural baritone, possibly a tenor, with a much more rapid, airy vibrato, so like a bigger wobble to his sound and an airy sound. Then, when the third voice enters, which is the one who opened him, we now hear a G, which is now moving towards the upper range of a tenor register. And the singer who opened with the first verse, I said sounds like a natural tenor, so that must be him, right? It makes sense. A bit of a blended voice, more towards a falsetto on that G. But then on Rosemary, we hear B to C sharp, which is high. It's above a typical expected tenor's range, and the singer is now using falsetto. So I'm thinking at this point, the first singer, the natural tenor, can easily transition into his falsetto, which is, a great asset to have in a group like this. Just a quick shout out to the chord on Time. It's this top note here, the F sharp, that's the juicy note in this chord. We're in E minor, which looks like this. And the F sharp up here, if we bring it down the octave, you can see how it clashes. And then we get this bit, which is again three voices. And now we have the singer on the left joining in and the first singer now leaving. But there's still a falsetto voice being sung here. So at least two of them have been singing in falsetto. And my guess it's both of these. But because all of the singing that we've seen so far is homophonic, they're all singing the same words at the same time. Any one of them could, in theory, be singing any part. But based on the fact that him and him are still singing now, it would make sense to assume that he, the new addition here, is the falsettist. But I don't think that's the case. I think that he, on his first entry, was using his chest voice, full voice, and has been using falsetto since then. And then just after that, listen to the word to. He wasn't singing to, and then a voice comes in with falsetto. So if he is the one singing in falsetto here, that means earlier that the first singer who opened the whole performance is the one singing the melody at that point. But that sounds like a different voice to the same thing earlier. Look, I'm not going to go more into it, but it's confusing, which I like because it's made me intrigued. I like their sound and I want to find out more. It'll probably become clearer later on who's singing which part if they change the arrangement up, for example. But this shows me immediately that they're a very versatile group. At this moment in time, I'm thinking between them, they're able to mix and match parts, change vocal styles within each part, cover big ranges. Yeah, it's exciting. Let's carry on.
Tell her to make me a Cambridgeshire. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Without no seeds, nor leaves, with such eyes on the mountain she'll be a true love.
Countertenor, natural tenor.
Was a true love of mine.
Wow, there's a lot to talk about that. So the singer on the left is a nice sort of operatic style baritone bass. Second from the left, Mr. Falsetto, Mr. Countertenor over here. Third from the left, natural tenor. Very, very nice collection of voices they have here, which explains why they work so well together and blend so nicely together. For this next clip, I want you to listen out to their sibilants, their enunciation of consonants. perfectly in time with each other, which really contributes to the tightness of a performance. This to me says like meticulous rehearsal, meticulous attention to detail. I also noticed that they often sing in pairs. They split into 2 and 2, with two of them singing one phrase, then the other two singing another phrase. And I like how it's never always the same two. You know, sometimes number 1 and 4 sing together, sometimes 2 and 4 sing together. They move around, which shows how fluid the group seems to be with each other. Now, do they arrange these themselves or does someone arrange for them? Let me know. But an example of why I ask is there's a nice dramatic key change here, where everything seems to be crescendoing and the beat becomes more prominent now. It's suddenly a bit less calm than it has been before, more intense. The key change, we've moved up 1 tone. We've moved from an E, now we're in F sharp, which makes this part all the nicer. By moving up key ever so slightly, he can just go that little bit higher, which means he's able to show off his falsetto ability just that little bit more. And then we have this bit, which I think is quite dramatic. It's almost reminding me of a battle or something, I think, with the beat. The countertenor there goes up to a top F sharp, which then leads into, which is an A. And the singer of that A, I don't think is a natural tenor. He sounds more like a natural baritone to me. So singing up there with his chest voice, it points towards the versatility of the group, both individually and as a group as a whole. And then here, I really like Mr. Countertenor's tone. It reminds me of a countertenor called Philippe Jarouski. You hear it, and if you didn't see who's singing, you would not think it's the voice of a man. It's so elegant and so pure. And then he goes... It's a bit harder to hear, but he goes up to... which is the top note that a chorister is typically expected to sing. Then just after that bit, the arrangement itself caught my eye, which is, again, I was wondering if it's them who arranged it. And without going into too much detail, the arrangement here is very clever. It's very cheeky in terms of harmony. It's both major, happy, and minor, sad at the same time. And then, just after that, on this big "Are you going" moment, the chord changes from major to minor. I don't know what the significance of this is, but I'm just pointing it out because, to me, it makes it seem a bit more mysterious. Okay, sorry, there's a lot to talk about there, but let's carry on.
To Scarborough Fair. Remember me to one who is there. She once was a true love of mine. She once was a true love of mine. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of
Wow, very dramatic, very pensive there, isn't it? They certainly know how to grasp an audience. Very tight performance, I think. Impressive musicality, great singers, obviously. Just some more bits from that final section to go over. So the natural singer, the very first singer, to me, and this is probably just to me, he has the most standout voice. It's the most unique voice to me, to my ears. I love his tone. They're all great, of course, but his is the one that stands out to me the most. And then we have this section. It's a nice traditional archaic sounding section. We've got that drone in the bass. And then that last section that they ended with, It's a nice way to finish, it's dramatic. Most of the instruments have been removed, so all of our focus is now on them, on their voices. Which, again, it's the same point I made earlier, but I just want to highlight how well they emphasize the consonants and how tight they are. You can hear every sh, t, s when they sing, and they're just perfectly in time with each other. And then lastly, how they finish up. Interesting use of phrasing here. One of them continued on there, whilst all the others breathed. And then we have... So then they all breathe just before the last word, so they're all breathing in the middle of a sentence. You don't typically see that because it kind of ruins the flow of the lyrics. And the fact that only one of them continued through just before that, I think exaggerates this. It adds dramatic effect. Yeah, all round, just a very, very tight performance, I think. I'm very keen to explore more of their work. Thank you to everyone who recommended that one to me. That was great. As always, thank you for watching. I would appreciate a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.